Hi BookTube, I have another currently reading video for you, and some of these books are the same as in my last currently reading video, but I've added in a fair few non-fiction books this time, as in addition to a couple of the fiction books that carry over from my last currently reading video, which I think was the first video I did on this channel. And so one of those books that is a carryover from the last time is the second book in the Dreamblood duology by N.K. Jemisin, The Shadowed Sun. I read the first book in this, The Killing Moon, last year. It was supposed to be a buddy read with a friend of mine, but she never read it. And so I wanted to get to the second book so I could complete this duology. And I'm really enjoying it so far. It's hard to explain this whole duology, and I don't want to give away any spoilers from the first book. So I highly recommend N.K. Jemisin, though, especially the Broken Earth trilogy, although this has been very good as well. Anyway, so the second book in the Dreamblood duology, The Shadowed Sun, is one of the books I'm still reading from my last currently reads video. The other book that I've started but haven't made a lot of progress in, which is a shame because I'm really excited about this book, is The Lost Future of Pepperharrow by Natasha Pulley. This is the direct sequel to The Watchmaker of Filigree Street, and this just came out a few months ago, and I'm really excited about it because I absolutely loved The Watchmaker of Filigree Street. I read it in January, and it is my second favorite book of 2020 so far, so I really need to get into reading this. All I've read so far is the prologue, and I need to continue reading it. Hopefully I'll jump back into this soon, because I'm so excited about it. Alright, moving into the non-fiction now. So the first one is a book that I had started a while back and then put down, and that is Margaret Fuller, A New American Life by Megan Marshall. This was the winner of the Pulitzer Prize. And so in this book, Megan Marshall is recounting the trailblazing life of Margaret Fuller, who was Thoreau's first editor, Emerson's close friend, a war correspondent, and a tragic heroine. And so it's been really fascinating to read more about Margaret Fuller. I didn't know much about her. And it's also interesting to see how during the time period that she was alive, of course, women didn't have many options in life. You know, they were expected to get married and have kids and be a housekeeper or a housewife, and Margaret Fuller doesn't want that. She wants to live a life of the mind. She hasn't really found anybody that she's that, excited about marrying or anything, and so she takes on several jobs as a school teacher, but she doesn't really enjoy that either because she feels like she spends all of her time teaching the kids and doesn't have a chance for her own pursuits. And so it's a fascinating portrayal not only of Margaret Fuller herself, but also of the sort of dilemma a lot of, intellectual women faced at that time, where they're having to choose between their own pursuits and what society says that they should be doing. And so I'm really enjoying this. I'm on chapter 10, and I'm looking forward to hopefully finishing it this time rather than setting it aside and not picking it up again. And yeah, that's Margaret Fuller, A New American Life. In a similar vein, I'm also reading The Civil Wars of Julia Ward Howe by Elaine Showalter. This is a biography of Julia Ward Howe. And Julia Ward Howe was a beautiful, studious New York heiress and aspiring poet when she married Bostonian Dr. Samuel Gridley Howe, a hero of the Greek War of Independence against the Turks, and an internationally acclaimed pioneer in the education of the blind. Anyway, it goes on from there to talk about her life, and she was also the author of the Battle Hymn of the Republic, which made her famous and revered, but she fought her own civil rights at home, battling with her husband over her rights to equality, intellectual freedom, and a public voice. As soon as the war ended, she became a pacifist and a suffrage leader. So I've only read, I think, a chapter in this, but it's one of those books that's been sitting on my shelves for ages that I needed to read. So hopefully I will get this read here soon. It's not super long, so I should be able to get through it in no time. And then we move into the absolute chunkster of a book that I started reading. I blame Steve Donahue thoroughly for this one. I don't have the dust jacket on it, but the title is on the front. And I don't remember what video this was that Steve mentioned this book in, but he was talking about, it might have been a maybe Midrash video, I'm not sure. But he was talking about books having to do with religion, I believe. At least at some point in the video he was. And he had mentioned The New Testament and Its World by N.T. Wright. And he was talking about how it's just one of those books you can get absolutely lost in, and it's fascinating. He also mentioned, of course, Wright is sort of a Christian apologist, which can be irritating at some points. But overall, he had high praise for this book. And I was like, that sounds really fascinating. So I went to order it on Amazon. Unfortunately, when I went to order it on Amazon, I was looking for, I thought what was a paperback copy of it that would be cheaper, and I wasn't paying attention. Anyway, I placed the order, and I was really looking forward to it coming in the mail, and I go to get the mail the day it's supposed to be here, and I'm really surprised that this giant book could fit in the mailbox, right? And I open up the mailbox, and there's this thin little package in the mailbox. I'm like, this isn't right. And so I open up the package, and I look inside. Come to find out, there is a workbook that goes with this book. Probably if you study it for like a Bible study or something. I had ordered the workbook rather than this beast. I was so mad. So I went back on Amazon and found the more expensive hardback but proper copy of this book and ordered it. Luckily, Amazon's pretty much gone back to their 2-day shipping if you have Prime. And so I was able to get it within a couple of days. But I was so irritated because I've been so looking forward to starting it the day it was originally supposed to be here. And then, of course, I get this dumb workbook that I'm not going to use. And I was just, yeah, I was not real pleased with myself. Anyway, that story aside, I'm really enjoying this so far. The last chapter I read last night before I went to bed was looking at the New Testament as literature. And Wright talks about how you could view the New Testament through various types of criticism. And of course, one of the sections he talks about is rhetorical criticism. And my interest in rhetoric and the fact that my master's thesis was on a rhetorical analysis of writings from the women's movement, that whole section just really fascinated me because of my own relationship to rhetoric itself and how you can look at the New Testament through a rhetorical lens. So I was nerding out over that particular section, and the next section then is the New Testament as theology. So I think that will be really interesting as well. I'm just looking forward to this book. It's massive, but I'll just take my time, read a few chapters, each day or whatever, and I'll get through it. But yeah, I'm really, really liking this. Glad I finally got a copy of it, and I'm really glad Steve Donahue mentioned this. He also mentioned another book by N.T. Wright yesterday in his maybe Midrash video that he did. And so I have an order for that one that's supposed to be here tomorrow. So that's exciting as well. I'm hoping that maybe I'll really enjoy this author. Probably not as much as John Shelby Spong, but I think I will enjoy his books overall. So yeah, excited about this. It also has cool illustrations in parts of it as well. I don't know, I guess illustrations isn't maybe the right word, but pictures and things like that. Like, here's a picture of Tacitus. There's also, like, at the top of each chapter, there's pictures. So it's just a fun book to read, and then to also see the accompanying photos that go with it. This is the Western Wall in Jerusalem, the Temple Mount. So, yeah. Really enjoying this, really excited to read more of it, which I think I might go do now. So that is all for my currently reading video. Thank you, BookTube.